After the release and eventual critical success of the first Dead Space, a couple things happened in the background. Dead Space 2 would officially go into pre-production at the tail end of 2008. However, the creator and director of Dead Space, Glenn Schofield and Michael Condrey, would leave EA to co-found Sledgehammer Games in 2009, therefore having nothing to do with any future installments of the franchise they created. While everything regarding Dead Space 2 was just beginning at this time, EA had another idea for Dead Space in the meantime. That being a different Dead Space title to further push the new IP, which began pre-production in 2008, directly after the first game as well. This would later become Dead Space Extraction, this time helmed by Eurocom Studios. Extraction was essentially a rail shooter exclusively made for the Nintendo Wii's motion control system, taking place before the events of the first game aboard the recently infected Ishimura. Development took about 14 months, which was less than originally anticipated because luckily the studio had a ton of already existing models and assets to use from the first game. Extraction was EA's attempt to see if there was a market for mature games on the Wii, since it was generally perceived as a family-friendly console, which as it turns out, was kind of true, as Extraction did release to generally positive reviews all around. However, it sold very poorly. Extraction would later be re-released for the PlayStation 3, compatible with their new motion controls in January of 2011 to coincide with the release of Dead Space 2. Extraction also had a comic released to further promote it, made from the same writer and illustrator as the original Dead Space comic, this time focusing on Nicole Brennan.